Welcome to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The movie starts with CGI chocolate bars getting made in an even bigger CGI chocolate factory, and just a hand placing 5 golden tickets and wrapping off the chocolate bars. And I want to point that out later. He puts the tickets at the bottom of the bar, so remember that. And then the freshly made chocolate bars get sent off to 5 different cities. After getting the setting done, the movie's narrator comes into play and introduces us to the story's main guy, Charlie. Charlie is your typical little boy with a strange haircut and an absolutely better build. Definitely doesn't get any bitches whatsoever. He's just a young, average loser. He's the one child that even his teachers don't remember. Charlie's and his family's main setting is poor, even though they have a house in the yard. Looking in the background there, it's the only house in the small little town, except maybe the factory, if you can't count that. Charlie is so poor that even Monopoly money would be an upgrade for him and his family. He lives at home with his whole family in a crooked house. The only thing that is holding that house together is the plot. His mom and dad, their parents, and Charlie all live in the same house, with nothing more to eat than that awful cabbage soup his mom makes. I don't want to imagine the awful smell all those people are giving off. His dad comes home, and looking at all of them in the house, I feel sad that they only eat cabbage soup. I mean, look at the dad when he came home. That's not how a man who loves to come home looks. But anyways, he brought Charlie some toothpaste caps, which Charlie uses to build a replica of the chocolate factory. Today, his father stole the exact piece that he needed for his project to be completed. Yes, you heard that right. His father just stole. Not that the toothpaste factory could have used that piece, but still, that man is a criminal. And looking at how much he has already stolen, man, crazy stuff. Finishing the factory made his grandpa remember the old times when he was still working at the factory. I can't fathom how they are just now talking about that, as Charlie is probably working on that project for quite some time now, and they live in the same house 24/7. So conversation is just happening now because the movie wants it that way. In any real setting, the conversation happened few years earlier. Willy's success came from one signature chocolate store, where the people just bought everything the second they put it on. He had some crazy ideas that made his store and his chocolate so special. But looking at that from his third perspective, he probably just put some LSD in the chocolate without anybody noticing, and sold it pretty cheap. Because there is no way you make so much money to build a chocolate factory that is 50 times bigger than any other factory before without making people crave your shit. Wonka made some really unbelievable stuff out of chocolate in his life. Once, he created sentient chocolate and built a whole palace out of chocolate in just one night, which obviously isn't possible. But it's a kids movie, that is also a Tim Burton movie, so commenting on anything would be a waste of time, as even the characters in the movie are commenting on how ridiculously some things are. So anyways, the grandpa who was talking to Charlie was once working for Wonka. Because people are greedy and just care about money, the competition infiltrated the factory with spies who are supposed to steal secret formulas Wonka uses to create special candy. After all his secret formulas were stolen, and his competitors are now also making some of the most bizarre and impossible sweets this little town has ever seen, Wonka closes his factory and just fires every single employee that was working for him. There probably would have been an easier and far more delightful way to deal with that, but well, he does what he does. He probably violated a few dozen work regulations by firing all of them, but who cares. But now 15 years after he closed, the factory is back open and selling chocolate again. Not that Wonka hired anybody back, no. Nothing gets in or gets out of the factory except the trucks full of chocolate. I wonder who drives those trucks, but well, again, they have completely tinted windows on all sides. So it could be that Wonka didn't even hire truck drivers and the strange little creatures are driving them. More on that later. So Grandpa Joe is talking about the good old times and telling us, the viewers, how he would have loved to go there one last time just to see how it looks. He's really nostalgic and sweet with all that kind of thing. And the other grandpa is just an old, bad-tempered sick of shit who has probably already been infested with maggots for as long as he's been chilling in bed. After Grandpa's bad-tempered statement and the reality check from his grandparents, Charlie gets sent to bed, barely finishing his cabbage soup, and all the other members of the family go to bed as well. That night, the narrator tells us something special happens. Not only does Charlie have to sleep under the broken roof on a cold and snowy night, no, also the factory opens its gates, and a lot of scooters came out, putting up posters all over the little town. I'm pretty sure that's vandalism if you don't have permission to do that, but what do I know? The next day, all the people, of course, read what the poster has to say. It's a message from Wonka that he allows 5 children to visit the factory, and one of the 5 gets a huge surprise that's even bigger than what I could have ever imagined. So the whole world goes haywire and goes out to buy the Wonka chocolate. We see snippets from New York, Morocco, and Japan where children, women, and men just throw everything at the cashier to have a chance of getting one of the 5 tickets. But back to Charlie. He and his grandparents are talking about how cool it would be if he was one of the lucky 5. While 2 of his grandparents are the positive 2, the old grumpy piece of shit gives him a reality check and says that he will never get the ticket, as Charlie only gets 1 chocolate bar a year on his birthday, which happens to be next week, the movie tells us. But Grumpy over there suspects that the first kid that's going to find one of the golden tickets is a fuck. And he isn't even wrong. The whole family basically just bullies every winner. It's just really surprising that Wonka's chocolate is known all around the world. At the moment Wonka dropped the news, the whole world set up a news report for the golden tickets. But now to the winners. The first winner is this thick little German boy who does nothing else and eat chocolate all day. His parents are obviously really proud of him, and as a German myself, I can say that everything about the Gustus is peak German humor. And we all live that way here. He's missing a lederhosen, but other than that, he is the peak German cultural picture. The next golden ticket goes to a girl named Veruca Salt. She's the embodiment of a Gucci store if it came to life. Her father made enormous effort just to see her smile and would probably do everything for her, even if it meant setting the world on fire. He ordered his company, which was cracking nuts before, to now open chocolate bars. This guy has to have so much money and so much stock of cracked nuts to maintain a chocolate opening for that amount of time. The workers eventually found the ticket after a few days had passed. After she got the ticket the dad found for her, or one of his workers found for her, the worker actually wanted to steal said ticket, but the dad was conveniently just standing right beside her. I want to point out that the ticket is not at the bottom of the bar anymore. She pulls it out from the top, and the same with the ghostus. I forgot to mention it, but yeah, I just remembered. But Veruca, the living proof that if you throw enough money at a problem, you just create a bigger one, doesn't even say thank you. No. She just demands something new after she gets it. She's the embodiment of what happens when a credit card raises a child. After Veruca's introduction, we cut back to the buckets, still bullying the children on TV because they really don't have anything else to do. But then his parents come home and ask Charlie if he wants to open his birthday present today instead of on his birthday. At first he's a bit hesitant, but then opens it anyway. They're all just so excited for him to open a chocolate bar. It's like opening old Pokemon cards, your boys. And instead of getting a holo Charizard, you just get a non-holo Clefairy. But it's only chocolate in there, so who cares? Of course, it's not in there because the movie has to get your hopes down, so you feel bad for Charlie and his family. But Charlie, as he is so pure, would probably apologize to the sidewalk if he tripped on it, is sharing the chocolate with his whole family so they all can get a piece. If you remember the theory I had, that the chocolate might contain some LSD or some crack, I might be onto something here. If you look at how Grandma number 2 inhales that chocolate smell. The next day, the third winner gets announced. Some white girl in Atlanta who doesn't even really eat chocolate. She's more of a gum girl. I want to address the beginning of her introduction. It's highly unlikely that she could fight off 2 adult men with a black belt when she only has a black belt herself. Those 2 guys just look like paid actors, playing their role to make her look good on TV. And also a fucking mom. Have you seen those eyes? She has seen stuff, man. Just crazy stuff. Violet chews gum like it's a full-time job. She's so proud to announce that she has been chewing that gum for like 3 months straight. I'm wondering 3 months straight means in that sense. I know that gum doesn't lose its flavor in this universe, but she does have to put it somewhere when she brushes her teeth or does literally anything else like eating or stuff like that. I know that she puts it on her neck when she needs a pause, but that shouldn't count if she really means 3 months straight, and that's a perfect way to get gum stuck in your hair. My point is that she is just disgusting. She would have eaten Tide Pods just to tell us that she did it first and would have wanted a trophy for it. The 4th ticket is found pretty much at the same time as the 3rd. The boy who found it is like a portrait of being really fucking smart, but I didn't really care what he was saying when he explained how he found the right bar. It's just gibberish and nonsense, but I guess no kid that was watching that checked the facts about it, so yeah, I'll let it slide.
Imagination.
He doesn't like chocolate. He actually hates it, which is the reason why he wanted to go to the factory. Dedication, I guess. Mike explains how he got it. He's like those people who watch Rick and Morty once and think they understand quantum physics. Back to Charlie. Grumpy old grandpa comes up with some of the worst swear words mankind has ever heard in the last 200 years he's been alive, but we don't get to hear them as Charlie's father slightly covers his ears. The second Charlie notices that his father is chilling his lazy ass at home looking at the newspaper, and he asks why his lazy ass is at home. His father obviously lies as they don't want him to know. Anyhow, his father lost his job because of the upswing in candy sales, so the toothpaste factory brought a machine that does his job. Firstly, I have to say that I really like the setting of the movie and that universe. All technology and the new are just an existing side by side, as if they are all from the same generation. It has nothing to do with my first point, but the upswing in candy sales has led to a rise in cavities. That's probably normal, as people eat more candy and still brush their teeth just 2 times a day. But like, the golden ticket hunt started only a week ago. Do cavities really start that fast if you eat lots and lots of candy? I can't imagine. I googled and it takes months or years for them to pull up, not days. Why am I angry? It's a kids movie, so...
Imagination.
While Charlie is stalking his parents with his broken roof, his grandpa calls him down to give Charlie his last remaining quarter to buy 1 more chocolate bar to have a chance to finally get a ticket. Charlie runs to the store and the movie makes it seem like Grandpa Joe is dying right here. But sadly, Charlie wakes him up and he lives. They open the bar in a way that is just hella inconvenient, but hey, they open it and there isn't a ticket inside. This time though, we don't see them sharing that bar. Instead, they just look at it really defeated. Also, it seems like the bar is way thinner than the one Charlie got for his birthday. Charlie just stands there in front of the factory with his eyes closed, probably wishing that he gets the ticket, when 2 of the gayest men in movie history walk past him, talking about how some guy in Russia found the last remaining ticket. Sadly, he goes home. But on the way there, he finds a $10 bill, something he has probably never seen before as he looks at it with awe. And instead of going straight to his parents and helping them a lot with it, he goes straight to a store and gets himself a bar of chocolate. And because this is a movie and not the real world, Charlie takes all the luck in the world for himself and pulls that golden ticket of the 1 chocolate bar he buys. People around him are offering him money to buy it from him, because, I mean, it is really rare. And the secret prize makes people go crazy. The cashier, the only black dude in this movie, is the only rational one and tells Charlie to go home as fast as he can and not let anybody see or have the ticket. Charlie thereby runs out of the store and forgets to take his change. So IIP, the $9.75 he just left there. When he gets home and shows Grandpa Joe the ticket, this old man has the audacity to simply get up and dance after 15 years of faking to be bedridden. Imagine if your grandparents lived in your house and faked being bedridden for that amount of time. I don't care how much we loved you. Leeching off your family that way is just unacceptable. But the second free chocolate is involved, he's moonwalking across the floor. It's just crazy. All the ticket owners read the instructions out loud except Charlie, who as it seems can't read, as everything so far has been read by his dad. The instructions tell us all 5 children are allowed in the factory for 1 day. They can take 1 member of the family with them. They also get truckloads full of chocolate as they please, and one of the 5 gets something else. Joe and Grumpy are becoming extremely excited about everything, and they can't resist the urge to give Charlie orders. The two are so hyped, you'd think they just won the lottery and the right to invade Poland, but that would be Augustus' job. Charlie's mother is the only real one. She's only thinking about how to organize the visit. So they ask a question who is going to be at Charlie's side when they visit the factory. Charlie wants to go to the factory, but thinks about his family first, as he does, but only if no chocolate bar is involved, and suggests that they might be better off selling the ticket to the highest bidder, so that his family doesn't have such big struggles with money. And then, out of nowhere, Grumpy orders him to his side and tells him that no money in the world could replace the ticket, as that the memory of it is worth more than the money could ever buy. I'm not sure about that, but we let it slide. On the big day, all the windows stand in front of the gate with a single parent waiting for it to open. Behind them are so many people that you could think the new iPhone just got released. We get a last quick shot of the 5 winners. The entitled girl who has never heard the word no, Charlie, the little sweetheart with the pretender Joe, then Augustus, the boy who tries to get the world record in getting diabetes. Next is Violet, who apparently has not yet learned that you chew your fucking gum with the mouth closed. And last is Mike, who just looks so high not even Highboy could compare to him. The gate finally opens and they get told to get close to the entrance. Then something happens that they can only explain with it's a fever dream happening right in front of them. The door to the factory opens and a lot of puppets sing a song about Willy Wonka before going up in flames. But of course, the Germans are portrayed to like the kind of music. To be honest, it's a banger. After it goes up in flames, they all just look so confused and baffled at what just happened. You know the feeling when someone is on the phone and you can hand him all kinds of things? That's basically what just happened, because they didn't even notice Willy right next to them. To describe him quickly, Willy is someone who has the social skills of someone who was homeschooled by a vending machine that hasn't had any customers for 30 years. But other than that, he's a pretty cool dude. They go inside to cover that awkward silence he just created. Violet introduces herself to Wonka, and so does Veruca and Augustus. I just love that chubby little German boy. He's so relatable. I also love Wonka's commentary on the introduction. He's just such a mood. Then he has a glitch in his system, as he can't pronounce the word parents. We then witness the highest peak that the German humor has ever reached. And as far as I know, nobody has ever beaten that joke since then.
Would you like some chocolate? Sure. Then you should have brought some.
Behind the door lies a wonderfully created landscape, rendering it completely useless. It could be straight out of Alice in Wonderland, but it's not. It's all candy. And for someone who grew up loving sweets, it would be a paradise. Unfortunately, I don't like chocolate or sweets in the slightest, so that just doesn't look good to me. But for all of them, except Mike, it looks amazing, especially for Augustus, who is just completely excited to the point that he even drops his chocolate bar and forgets to pick it up late. As they proceed forward, Willy tells them that they can go and explore and try everything they want, as everything they see is edible. He says that even he himself is edible. As a child, I really thought he was made out of chocolate, because I didn't know about cannibalism. They all go their separate ways and eat all the stuff they want, except Charlie, who got his apple stolen by Violet and just doesn't want a new one after that. Augustus is really enjoying himself, stuffing his mouth full like an animal after it hasn't eaten in a few weeks. But to be honest, looking at him, that's not the case. They spot the first few Oompa Loompas, who are just the same old Indian dude over and over again. Willy got them from a country that doesn't even exist and found them on a journey to his own spiritual self. Well, not really. He was looking for new flavors for his chocolate, but it's the same thing. He put them under some kind of slavery contract because they love cocoa beans, and he told them he has a lot of them, so now they're working there indefinitely. Anyways, while they are watching them, the group sees how Augustus is drinking out of the chocolate river. His mother screams over to him that he shouldn't do that in English. I don't understand why she doesn't yell that in German, as Augustus would have probably heard that better, but Willy is also trying to tell him vaguely that the chocolate river is forbidden to be touched by humans. But that's not what he said like 5 minutes ago, when he told them all of them to just enjoy everything. Everything means everything, even the chocolate river. So as fate would have it, Augustus falls into the river. But I mean, I think it's a translation error, but in the German version, he definitely says clearly that the river is forbidden 2 times. Then the big flying chocolate sucker goes over to him and sucks him up the pipe. While he was spinning around the pipe in the whirlpool, I was thinking how fast this chubby little fucker can move. The moment Augustus is completely stuck in the pipe, Oompa Loompas are performing a song that is just a fucking banger. I will probably save those songs as my favorites on Spotify. Mr. Wonka is casually ignoring the fact that one child has already left. It's just another day in his life, so now only 4 children are remaining. I love how Grandpa Joe is really concerned for Augustus, but I don't like the way he looks. It seems like he knows something. Next on the list is a pretty crazy boat ride through the factory. On that ride, we get a flashback of Willy's childhood. We learn how his father is a dentist and burned all his so eagerly hunted candy on Halloween just for him to not destroy a thief. We get back to the current time and they stop at the inventing room. In this room, the next child is going to be sorted out. But before that, he shows us some pretty cool inventions, like what we call in Germany the monster Wonderball, or Gobstopper as it's called in the movie, or the one hair toffee that makes you grow some hair. The thing will probably be bought by every guy for the life of him, can't grow a beard. And lastly, the 3-course dinner gum, which is probably especially made just for Violet. She's the next kid who doesn't listen to Willy and has to suffer the consequences of her own actions. This one is quite obvious. She's turning violet and swelling up like a blueberry. I really expected something else, seeing Willy's reaction to Violet keeping the gum in her mouth. He was really scared and even ducked, as if she were about to explode. But anyways, the Oompa Loompas sing another banger. The last 3 kids remaining move on. The kids are asking dumb questions, well, all the kids except Charlie, of course, who is asking the really good ones who sent Willy back to his childhood, remembering his first ever contact with candy. The next room is the nut room. I could also call this your mother, and I was fascinated by the fact that those girls in there are actually not CGI, or at least not all of them are. They actually trained some squirrels to crack open nuts just for this movie. After the introduction of said squirrels, Veruca obviously has to have one of those, as all of their animals at home are now not worth anything because they aren't as cool, new and shiny as the squirrels. So she convinces her dad to get her one of them. But Wonka, as a giga-chat himself, tells her to fuck off and that she can have one. She then decides to just go and get one herself. I'm not sure how she decides which one she gets, but it's quite obvious that she decides randomly, as there are a few she just passed at the beginning. Before she could grab the one she wanted, they all start jumping at her and also putting her to the ground. After they have firmly pinned her to the ground, they check if she's a bad nut, and they decide that she is in fact the bad one. Her dad isn't really trying to get her to her, as he could have easily stepped over the gate and gone down to her. But after the squirrels have thrown her down the garbage chute and all return to their own little seats, Willy opens the gate, the father goes down, and the next banger starts. And at the end of that song, the father also gets thrown down the chute. Only 2 kids remaining. They enter a glass elevator and navigate through some truly unbelievable rooms that are deemed useless as Mike describes them. This immediately reminded Willy of his father's words. He ran away from home because he valued Kenny more than he valued his dad, but his dad said he won't be there if he runs away. Willy did anyways, and after a day of just running through the flag museum, he came back Dad's house missing, which is exactly this in a nutshell.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
The next room we are visiting is the TV room, and if you now think that sounds awfully close to Mike's second name, TV, then you're right. This is the room where he's going to end up in. Will's invention sends a huge chocolate bar through the TV so viewers can grab them with their hands. Initially, you would require a television you can put your hands in. However, I am uncertain as how this would function. Is it necessary to act quickly in order to retrieve it? Can other people be faster than you and steal it from you? It's quite confusing and opens a few questions. But Mike, the kid who thinks he has a PhD in computer science after watching a documentary about it, wants to use the technology for teleportation instead. This stupid child hasn't really listened and watched what Wonka was doing as he shrunk his really large chocolate bar into a smaller handy bar. As Mike has it, gets shredded in like a zillion pieces, and like 90% of them get lost on his way to the TV, so he is now really small. While he is trapped in the TV, the Oompa Loompas sing another banger. Mike's father finally pulls him out of the TV after the song is over, and that only leaves us with Charlie and Joe. The 3 of them get back into the elevator, and Willy pushes the button to go crashing into the roof, and they all die. Not really. They crash through the roof, and the elevator turns out that it can also just fly. They hover over the factory for a short time, and we see the other winners. Augustus is completely covered in chocolate. Violet is really flexible, but also blue. Veruca and her dad are just covered in trash, and Mike is entirely thin and stretched out like crazy. It doesn't seem like all those people waiting for them outside of the factory are concerned about the winner's appearance. Charlie and the other 2 are flying to his house, crashing through the roof of their already not so good looking house, and after insulting their way of living, he casually mentions that Charlie is going to inherit the chocolate factory. However, under one condition. Charlie must leave his family behind and move in with Willy at the factory, as he believes that family is a bird. Willy didn't expect that Charlie would say no to that offer, but he actually was. So Willy gets back into the elevator and flies to the factory. Everything changed after that. They needed to fix the roof, so they did it the next morning. And even Joe did something with his lazy ass instead of lying in bed. His father got a new job, and everything is just better for the family. They can eat something other than cabbage soup for the first time in years. But Willy is still in his midlife crisis and second guessing himself, so he does what men his age do and talks to the little children on the street. Wonka talks to Charlie and is basically just a younger version of Vin Diesel, just talking about how important family is. And Willy is finally opening up, showing us and Charlie that he has daddy issues, but is too afraid to go to him himself. So Charlie decides to go with him and visit his father. When they got there, Wonka's dad didn't recognize him at first, which he definitely should have, but anyways. Charlie walks through the house and sees that Willy's father has always been following what his son was up to, and never not thought of him. Eventually, Willy's father recognizes him, they share an awkward hug, and everything is fine. They return home, and Willy accepted Charlie's conditions to take his family with him into the factory. So the movie basically ends with them now living in a factory in the same old crooked house, and the same old clothing, and the same everything, even though they are now filthy rich, but they still have the family.